tier 6 American tank. My speed is good and I can outflank. My armor's good frontally. My top is weak though, gets penned by RT. Do not angle me or we're dead. Do not side scrape unless they're red. Cover my lower plate, it's soft as poo. Do this for me and I'll be true to you. Something I have to tell you though, I have a fatal flaw. My neck is broken, I cannot see the floor. They say I'm heavy, I would not know. I simply cannot see that low. My name is Pawlack, I'm a tier 6 American tank. My speed is good and I can outflank. My armor's good frontally. They were deep weak though, gets penned by RT. Do not angle me or we're dead. Do not side scrape unless they're red. When you first drove me, you thought I was a hack. Now you're in love with the tier 6 Pawlack. Hello and welcome to Reginaldesq. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the tier 6 American heavy tank, the Pawlack. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. Is it any good? Yes, it's a very good tank actually. It has limitations. It says here versatile heavy tank. I think not very versatile heavy tank would be a better description. There's a certain way you have to play it and that's the only way you can play it, pretty much. Anyway, in the gameplay that you see, my crew will be 100%, but I think they're about halfway through their first skill. They might not have any skill. If you see 6th Sense going off, that means they all have their first skill. If you don't see 6th Sense going off, then I haven't got any skills. I have vents fitted to help everything. I have a gun rammer fitted to load that gun a bit quicker, and I have a spore liner because it's got a bonus for survivability mod. I fitted the spore liner. I'm not actually sure if that's the best choice or not. It might not be because the tank does or is susceptible to being fully penetrated by artillery, and the spore liner doesn't work on penetrating shots. It only works on non-penetrating HE hits. So I'm not sure if it's worth it. But anyway, the grind for the tank is brutal, especially the learning curve of this tank is pretty high. I found it high anyway. And you get 2 guns, then you get the turret, then you get the other gun. When I was grinding it, I thought it was a joke because it only got 5 degrees of gun depression. And this gun height, it's a tall tank, it's about as high, the gun's about the same height as a KV-2. And you've only got 5 degrees of gun depression. I thought it was a joke, and I thought, good one, and I thought, when you get the next turret, it'll fix it up. But yeah, real funny HD, give me a tall tank with 5 degrees. Then I got the second turret, and I thought, oh no, that's it, that's how the tank is. It has 5 degrees of gun depression. So, needless to say, it can't fight on hills, but it has certain limitations. There's certain rules with this tank you have to follow to have good games. Otherwise, if you like an inexperienced player in this tank, will probably just get wiped out and not understand what's going on. So I'll try and explain that to you when we have a look at the armor layout, which we're going to do in a minute. And just to reinforce that, I'm on 55% win rate now. When I'd finished grinding the tank, I was on a 45% win rate. So I just didn't know how to play it, and I was really struggling. And then when I worked it out, I started to win a lot more games. So let's have a look at the armor layout. I've remade this armor thing about 5 times because I'm taking too long. I'm going to make this really brief. You must keep anywhere from the track height and below completely covered at all times. So when you're facing another tank, you must face them straight on. You cannot angle this tank. You must face them straight on and keep from about here down completely covered. If you do that, you will bounce almost everything unless they load gold. Even tier 7 tanks, you'll bounce heaps of them unless they load gold. So as you can see here, it takes about 120 mils to penetrate this front part. That's why you got to keep it covered. Once you get to here, it's ricochet. It's 40 mils thick, it's green, but it's ricochet. However, it's 40 mils, so tanks with guns above 120 millimeters, sorry, like the 122 millimeter on the IS, those sort of tanks, will automatically penetrate that. So if you're facing those tanks, you've got to cover up to here, although even then you're probably not 100% safe, but you might have a chance. But against tier 6s, you can basically cover that and just take, you will bounce so much damage. This is really good armor. The angling is fantastic. The thickness is really good. So if you look here, they need basically from 150 to 160 millimeters to pen this. And as further out they get, the more chance of ricochets. They haven't got a really accurate gun. They're in big trouble. The mantlet varies from 300 to 160. All this stuff here, it's really thick here. You can see it's like 145 mils thick. It gets thinner, but it's angled. Same here. It's really good angling. Even this green bit here, it's ricochet. The cupola is a weak spot. The first turret you get doesn't have a cupola. The rest of the turret isn't as strong, but this one gets a cupola, unfortunately. So being a tall tank, smaller tanks have trouble hitting it, but bigger tanks will take it out. So you got to wiggle your tank a little bit. But other than that, it's really strong. These areas here are strong frontally, but if you try and side scrape, it's a major weakness, this area here, and really prevents the tank from effectively side scraping. However, as I indicated in my song, if the player you're facing is inexperienced, then because this is all ricochet, as long as you've got this sort of covered, when you pop out to shoot, they often won't think of aiming for this. They don't realise, and they just look at the rest of the tank and they look at this and just see how strong it is, and they kind of panic. But a good player will just go, aha, weak spot, and they'll just pump holes through there and you're dead. So you can't side scrape against good players. What else can I tell you about it? The side armour is actually pretty thick at 63 millimeters, so if it wasn't for that, it would be a good side scraper. Side of the turret is 76, which is really good. The rear of the tank, 40 mils, so anybody can pin you there. And a real bad weakness of this tank is the top deck and the top of the turret are both only 25 millimeters. The FV304 and the Bishop have a really high arc because their maximum range is 400. When firing at maximum range, a shell goes really high and comes pretty much straight down. So they, like FV304s, they penetrate you with almost every hit if they're firing at you, if they know what they're doing, and you just get wrecked by them. So try and keep away from them. Other arty tend to more hit the side, and it's not as bad, but if they hit the top deck, you're pretty much a goner. The other thing that can happen is, well, I'll show you. When big tanks load gold, it's a problem for this tank. But other than that, the armor is fantastic. Only 5 degrees of gun depression, which means that, let me show you, that's it. That's we're looking at maximum gun depression right there, which means that a tank in front of you, hang on, I'm trying to point it this way and have, that's your maximum gun depression right there. So a tank in front of you, like I rammed a VK2801-105, I rammed it, and then I could only see its cupola. That was all I had to shoot at. If one of those small tanks gets into the side of you here, you won't be able to return fire and they'll just kill you. So if you're a scout tank, just run into the side of these guys and just stay on their side and shoot them. There's nothing this tank can do to you. Alright. The map is Karelia. It's a tier 6 only game and we're kind of top of the tree. There is an OR on the other team, so we're going to watch out if he decides to fire heat at us. I've got the XMV thing running. I'm trying it out, just trying to find out what's going on. Anyway, we're heading to a spot. The reason I'm showing you this game, it's not a mastery game, although I thought it was going to be a mastery game. It probably would have been a mastery game, but I get hit with extreme lag, which I'm sure happens to everyone. My ping went up to like 800, 900 and all that, but until that point I thought I was going to have a mastery game. But why I'm showing this one really is just to say, one, because I bounce a lot of damage, so you'll have a laugh when you see how much many shots we bounce, but also just to show you one of the positions that you can get into where this tank actually works, especially if you're top tier. So we're coming up here and we've lit up a couple of tanks there. Let's see if we can have a couple of shots. And oh, there's a bunch there now. Let's see. Had a bit of trouble with my mouse at this point, but we finally get lined up. There we go. So the average of 240 damage per shot. You can see they're bouncing shots off us right now. And I can't see at the moment. I'm trying to work out. I don't want to go forwards because I'll expose my lower plate. We've been hit by artillery only for 3 points. And people firing HE at us at the moment. You can see it's doing no damage at all. And I back up and realize my cupola sticks over the top, so I'm able to spot them all just by backing up. Get a nice 240, I think, on that 3601H, the heavy tank there, German heavy. A smorgasbords of choices to shoot at there. So I'm just moving back, and I'm moving around because if I can spot them with my cupola, it means they can see my cupola. So I'm trying not to stay still. I'm moving around back and forth. In a minute though, you'll see my ping will shoot up really high, and I kind of lose control of my tank. Look at all the tanks I've got to shoot at, and there you go. See how I went a bit too far forward? You can see my ping's about 900 now. And we still managed, I think we blocked the shots, but look at this now. All I wanted to do was move forward to shoot again through the bush, and my tank just kept going and wouldn't stop because I've got about a 3-second delay. So although you won't be able to tell it here, but from when I press fire to when my shell actually comes out of my gun is taking about 3 seconds. I've also stopped moving forward and back because I'm scared that if I move forward, like just there, I'll lose control and go right out forward again. Like I went right back there, I didn't mean to do that. So I have almost no control over my tank at this point. And yeah, I'm really worried. And this is now I start bouncing on my shots because of the lag. Because what happens when you get really bad lag is you shoot, and what you see on your computer isn't what is actually happening. Like that, I just bounced off green armor there. Because what I'm seeing, that tank would have moved after I fired my shot, and it would have actually hit it somewhere else. But so the server's saying, yeah, I'm seeing it as there, but it's not really there. By the time the signal gets through to the server and to their tank, they're actually not there anymore. They've just angled slightly differently, and it bounces or whatever. So yeah, this kind of spoiled the game for me, but it kind of goes away. It gets a little bit better, like it's back to almost normal now, and then it goes bad again. Like, yeah. Now we have had some hits from the AX-13 AM artillery, but it hasn't been real bad hits. And like that shot shouldn't have bounced, so I'm starting to get some bad misses now, and it's just lagging out. Don't know what happened with that shot. Artillery hits us again, and I've only got 19 hit points left now. So I went from totally dominating that spot to actually getting almost destroyed. So I decide, well, I'm going to die. Artie's going to get me, so let's move. So Artie missed me there, although the shell looked like it almost passed through my turret, so lag might have actually saved me on that occasion. And as you can see, I'm trying to go up near the rock. I end up going up the rock because my ping's at 1,000 now. It's dropping again a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to go near. I stopped before it, and then I'll move, just touch the key again to move forward again, and went right up onto the rock. So right now I'm just sitting here because my ping's stuck on 755 at the moment. And yeah, I just can't do anything. I'm scared to peek out from the rock because I'm scared I'll just keep going. Like here, I'm just tapping the key, and there you see how my shot went way behind his tank. That's because it's showing what the server saw. So as far as the server was concerned, I wasn't even aiming at him. I was aiming directly at him when I did it. Watch this. What was I shooting at? There was nothing there. But when I played the game, that OI was there, and I was shooting at his green armor. So this, after missing those couple of shots, I decided to wait ages before shooting. And see where I shoot there? I shoot right at the back. I was shooting at the very tippy tip of his track at the front. And here, I aim at the very back of his tank. I hit about the middle. And he was going pretty slow. So that's the sort of delay I had going. But anyway, I don't think... No, I'm nowhere near the other tank, and I don't hit it. So that's pretty much the end of the game for us. So, Class 2. We was robbed! And we got high caliber, unsurprisingly. We finished second on our team for experience with 953 experience, and I think we finished second for damage as well with 1,729 damage. And this is the interesting bit. We fired 19 rounds, 13 of them hit. We missed a few because of lag. And 8 of them penetrated. We missed a few penetrations because of lag. We also would have fired quite a few more shots if we hadn't had that lag. 1729 damage. We received 29 hits. Only 2 of them penetrated. And non-penetrations 20, and we received splash damage of 8. So it was really artillery that killed us. We blocked 2,950 damage, which is crazy. We spotted 5 vehicles, destroyed 3, caused 283 assistance damage, and made a good profit. We did have reserves running, which was 18,000 and something, but even without those, we would have made a good 26,000 profit. So the map is Wide Park. It's a dream matchup for us. Not only are we top tier, and it goes all the way down to tier 4. So it's tier 6, 5 and 4, but we're like the only heavy on our side, and they've got a KV-1S and that's it. So this is going to be, well, a massacre. Tier 6 medium drives past. Wolverine decides to stop in front of my gun. Great idea, Wolverine. He must be a new player, I'd suggest. Unfortunately, my gun can't load quickly enough to get a second round off. Yes. Here we go. Can you stop in front of my gun? I don't know how I missed that shot. The reticle pretty much... I don't know, yeah, I don't know where the shot would have gone, but anyway. He was firing APCR at us, by the way, which bounced. So he went through the KV-1S turret there. Pretty good pen, this gun. I think it's 160 or something. Now, I never shoot gold, so just so you know, in case you don't know. I might start shooting again one day, but I haven't shot gold for quite a few years. So there's a tank there shooting at him, but I can't see him, so I think I type in comments or ping the map to try and get somebody to do some spotting. As you can see, there's nobody around here spotting. I've got BT-7 behind me, I've got another scout tank behind me, but none of them are actually scouting. Yeah. We've got a Lux, and we've got a bunch of tanks that could easily be just popping over the ridge and just showing us what's there, but... so not the most exciting part. Maybe I might speed this up to 2 times here. Oh, back to normal speed. I wasn't ready. I think I fell asleep. Yeah, I'd just been trying to type in comments or something, and we got him that time though. Oh, and here we go. This guy is going to try... I'm going to get rid of the KV-1S first, because he's the biggest threat. I'm going to try and keep my turret pointing at him while he's aiming at me, because if I'm not facing directly at him, he's got more chance to pen me. This guy's trying to side scrape, which is admirable, but you know, the tier difference and everything like that, it's just too much for him. He's a tier 4 tank, so I feel really bad about that one, because that guy was doing his best to angle and do everything right, but you can't do that with a tank that's 2 tiers higher than you, especially not a heavy tank that's 2 tiers higher than you. You can't take that sort of yeah, 2 tiers is too much. Anyway, so I decided now to make a move, because the other team have lost some of their sort of some of their members, and I figure the KV-1S hasn't got much health. There's not really anyone else on the team I'm sort of scared of, so I decided to come in and finish this KV-1 because I don't have much health. He unfortunately bounced off me. He fired a bit too soon. He panicked, and if he had just taken a bit more time to aim, he probably could have got into the side of me a bit better. Artie is probably the next biggest threat to me, which was why I started aiming at him there before taking care of these tanks. I missed that guy due to lag. As you can see, I fired after he was gone, which I wouldn't have done that. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I don't shoot at tanks that aren't there. I see this guy come out, and what is he pointing at? So I was starting to think, is this guy a bot? Because, like, really? But anyway, there might have been a couple of bots in this game, I don't know, because some people did some, you'll see in a minute, some people do some pretty inexplicable stuff. I actually feel like a proper YouTuber at this point, because normally this guy has actually got some sense. Normally, when I watch YouTube videos, tanks are just driving around aimlessly in front of them, and I think, you know, that never happens to me ever. But in this game it did. And see if I can ram this guy to death now. But I think someone shoots him before I get there. Oh no, we did ram him. Wow, how's that for lag? He exploded before we hit him. Yeah, that was interesting. So I think this next guy I kill now will be, looks like a bot. Actually, no, not this one. This guy's got to be a bot. If you're not a bot, I really apologise to you. But you look like a bot to me. Either that or you just got tunnel vision and you're just looking at... like, I don't know what you're looking at. Anyway. I think that Artie was just decided to get one more shot off before he died, which, fair enough, I've done that before in Artie myself. You know you're going to die, so you try and get a shot off at something you think you do damage to. No point aiming at me because he wasn't going to do any damage. And can we get to this IKV? The last tank left alive. And probably the tank with a really good chance of actually penetrating us if we wanted to. And we do get him. End of the game. So that was a mastery game. I mean, we really were pretty lucky with the matchmaking. High caliber and steel wall, and there's lots of stuff there. So there's another screen. Hang on. So there's the other screen, unless that came up sooner because my editing software seems to switch to them before I actually do it myself. Next screen. We finished on top with 1,417 raw XP. We did 3,239 damage. So we fired 21 shots, 17 of them hit and all of the 17 penetrated, 3,239 damage. We received 13 hits, 2 of them penetrated, 11 non-penetrations. We blocked 1,145 damage, spotted 3, destroyed 5, 585 assistance damage. We made a lot of money that game. I had 28,000 in personal reserve bonuses because I was running some of those reserves. I had a stack of them. I've never bought any. They just, you know, accumulate. And without that though, we would have made still about 49,000 profit. So wow, profitable tank. So after that game with tiers 4, 5 and 6, I better show you one against tier 7 so you can see how it goes. The map is Highway, couldn't remember what it's called, and as you can see, about nearly half the enemy tanks are tier 7, the rest tier 6. We have the little red Ferrari in front of us here, IKV, and you can see this tank is fast. We're pretty much keeping up with the IKV, which is a pretty fast little TD. We're doing 44, 45 at the moment. This tank's top speed is good for a heavy tank, and it's quite manoeuvrable as well. It is, in all respects, the only bad thing about this tank really is the 5 degrees of gun depression. It's just a big drama. But other than that, now I decide because of the speed of this tank, I want to try and get into an advanced brawling position. I figure I'm not going to live that long, and spoiler alert, I don't live that long. But I want to see if I can do something to turn the tide of the game, even though I'm not top tier. So I decided I was going to poke around the corner. I thought, no, I'm going to go around in at least a semi-side scrap position so I don't just get immediately wasted. And unfortunately, that Karelia P88 there, he turned before I was ready, and then anyway, now this SU-100 Wi-Fi's at us. We get one into him. We actually bounced his shot. We ended up getting some damage from the M44 though. I fire another shot there, and I don't know what happened. The Karelia P88 bounced off our sides there as we were coming back. So when I said you can't side scrape, you kind of can, but you can't aim. You can't give long enough to aim, although I just put in that little spot I mentioned. But you can sort of just pop out and do it, and like he clipped the back of me on the way back in, a bit like I clipped him on a bag angle before. And once again I do it there. I had green, it looked like I was going to go in, and then he just turned his tank nose in towards the wall just before I fired, and so I bounced. So I'm staying right up against the wall because I don't get hit by artillery, and I'm also trying to wait. I think, oh, I don't want to shoot at when he's ready for me because he'll just pen me. I go there, have a look, I think, nah, he's in a spot where I have to go really far out to pen him. He's got that T-29 behind him. I decided to see if I can hit the T-29. Unfortunately, the Caro is actually protecting the T-29 by the position of his body, and he ends up getting one into me. Actually, while I'm here, let's see, where did he get us? He got us, there you go, see, in the side of the tank there. Okay, I'll go back into the tank now. So now I just see that oh, it looks like I might be a chance for me to get hit, so I back up, checking the carriers are following me, and boom, into the side. I get in a position now and get another shot into him, but someone kills him, so that's it for him. I get hit by Artie because that's what Artie does. At least they're not hitting me on top, they're only hitting in front of my tank. Decide to now see if I can hit this KV2. He actually hits me, and I do hit him, so that's okay. Where did he hit us? Oh, down there. Anyway, I just noticed my ammo rack's been hit, so I don't know if that was a hit. I've got a hit in the front here as well. Right in the front centre there, near the drive, yeah, there. So it could have been that one to my ammo rack. Anyway, the carrier decides to come around the corner. I actually get one into him and we bounce him. He gets a ricochet. So I was very lucky there. Wrapped that I finally got one into him. I'm sort of trying to see if I can side scrap and get his lower plate here, and I do. So we've got another one into him, which is great. Now I decide, okay, well, he's going to get me, so let's go nose to nose and see if I can pen him. Looks like I can pen him there, and I do. If we jump out of our tank to see where he's aiming at the gap between my turret and the other part of my tank. Now, I was aiming at his turret. I couldn't get my gun down to his hull. So, my hull was pretty strong now, and here, it looks like he was getting into the gap between where the turret sits and the hull. There is a little green gap in there under the mantlet, and that looks like that's what he was going for. I probably should have wiggled or moved backwards and forwards. It would have thrown his aim off, and I might have had a chance, but at that range he can probably penetrate my upper body anyway. And that's the end of that one. Ended up being a class 2 in the tank. Onto the next screen. And we ended up second on our team for experience, I guess because we're a tier down, so our XP counted. We got extra XP for being a tier down. We fired 10 shots. Of the 10, all 10 hit because we were pretty close range. 6 of them penetrated, 1,377 damage. We received 8 hits, only 4 of those hits penetrated, and we received a couple of splash damage hits. We blocked 920 and did 673 assistance damage, and we made a whopping big profit again, 43,000, but we did have 16,000 from reserve bonuses. I think that you can do okay against tier 7s, but you can't. Your armor doesn't really. You'll bounce some stuff if you're careful, but you can't just sit in front of everyone with your lower hull covered and tank it all like you can at tier 6. Thank you for watching my review of the Pawlack. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up because it does help the channel. And if you like the reviews, please consider subscribing to Reginaldesq, and of course, have fun.